Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and I am also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I think is a pretty terrifying reason, I would be terrified or scared if I was a man, a reason why sometimes good men are ignored. And there's a lot of validity to it, but it doesn't mean that all good men are ignored, okay? It's not a one size fits all, but it's really something that's specific. And I see it when I'm practicing as a therapist. And unfortunately, I do think that a lot of these men are actually good men. It's not like I'm just saying that. A lot of them I've worked with for many years, so I don't think they're actually bad men at all. But they do get ignored sometimes. And some of them do find relationships, but they have to break out of this pattern first. And so it's going to sound a little weird, but it's very important that people understand that this is reality and humans are dynamic and different, and not everyone has the same merits and not everyone has the same goals. And so the reason that some good men are ignored is because some women, not all women, not all women, not all women at all, but definitely some women prefer men who mistreat them because it gives her a reason to stay unhealthy herself. So that may sound strange, but basically, a good man, even if you don't mean to challenge her, you will challenge her because you're not like that, right? So, for example, I just had some cases like this very recently. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you the details, but let's just give an example. If she is, I don't know, she hits somebody, so she hits her boyfriend, right? He's not going to accept that, but he's also not going to escalate it either. The escalating part is the most important part of what we're talking about today. If a man is also unhealthy, he might escalate that to another extent. Maybe he starts screaming, maybe he starts yelling, maybe he starts, I don't know, throwing things around, whatever it is. And that makes her feel like what she did was not entirely unhealthy because he's also unhealthy. Now, of course, we're not talking about men who are being so abused that they react, because that does happen. And actually, that happens in these cases as well. But let's say it's the first time a girl hits a guy who's good, right? He's healthy. He's going to set boundaries, or he's just going to leave. He might be terrified, right? Because that's a terrifying thing. And he's going to do something that she would not do herself. And that makes her feel like there's something wrong with her because his reaction is normal. Even if it's like a small hit, he might say, hey, never touch me like that again. Like, it's fine. You didn't mean to. I've never told you. Even if she's being playful, he might say, just never touch me like that again. And that's completely normal. It's a boundary, right? He's not saying, I don't like you, but in his mind, he might think, okay, this girl might not be healthy. But a good man is going to accidentally challenge her. That's his knee-jerk reaction to say, hey, don't do that to me, because he knows better. But an unhealthy guy might, I don't know, take it. He might scream. He might whatever. And now they both are unhealthy. Even if maybe she triggered him, it makes her feel like she doesn't have to fix herself. She can just say forever to all her girlfriends, to all of the next boyfriends, that her ex-boyfriends are just bad. They're unhealthy. Look at how unhealthy they are. They mistreated her, whatever it is. And she can live in that narrative. And that's why a lot of women choose unhealthy guys, because they can stay unhealthy. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of healthy women tend to stay in relationships longer. And so I imagine the dating pool is more filled with women like this because they do stay single longer and they tend to have short-lived relationships. I'm just being honest. And it's also unfortunate because a lot of these women, this sounds kind of bad. And then we're going to get into more specific points, but I really want to let you guys know about this dynamic. A lot of women, like, other women can see women like this, so they actually don't hang out. Oh, that sounds mean, but like, they don't hang out with women like this because women like this are also difficult to be friends with, right? You can imagine if she's like this to her boyfriend, she's also difficult with her friends. And so healthy women don't really hang around women like this either. And so she also always has drama about other friends, by the way, if you're curious. Okay. And so how do I explain it? What does an unhealthy man offer her that a good man can't? And these are not good things to offer, by the way. He can do something devastating, right? And now let's say he did something, he cheated on her. He's an unhealthy guy. Unhealthy men tend to cheat more than healthy men. He just, let's say he wasn't even driven to that point. That's the way he does things because he's also unhealthy. He's also been hurt. Now she has a reason to say she's the one that's hurt. She's not bad. She's not doing anything wrong because look at what he did. He did something so obviously bad. He cheated. And so she can live with that and forever be that victim of that. So that's one thing she gets out of it. That's a benefit, not a good benefit, okay? The next one is, this part is kind of strange, okay? And I would never recommend you guys doing this unless you actually feel like your girlfriend or wife is a good woman, because some women really get a lot out of this, okay? Unhealthy men, they make a mistake and they're taught maybe from a young age that you should, tell ladies that you're sorry and really beg and earn her back, right? And some good men, they make mistakes, it happens, and he wants to beg his wife back. That's fine. I'm talking about an unhealthy guy. He begs her back. He did something, he cheated, and he says sorry, he messed up, and that makes her feel justified. Because now she's like, oh, okay, look at this guy. He's begging to say sorry to me. And now I am obviously not unhealthy myself, because then he wouldn't be begging me. Because there are good women and husbands, they want their wives back, whatever. And same thing, wives beg their husband back too if they make a mistake. Kind of, it happens, long-term marriages. But she can do this even in a short-term marriage because she picked a guy who's unhealthy. And so he obviously has something to say sorry about, sure. But it makes her feel like she's not the unhealthy person. The next one is, how do I explain this? Hurt is familiar to her, which I've talked about before, but it's so familiar to her, she's too afraid to see what she looks like with all of that removed. And so that's what we're talking about in the very beginning, but I'm going to talk about it in a more childhood pattern, okay? If you're a healthy or good guy, you're not blocking her behaviors. For example, she can say, oh, I'm just crazy because he made me crazy, which sure, that can happen. But, and I know, sorry, I just used the word crazy because it's a quick word. I'm not trying to say anybody's crazy. But in her mind, she can say, I was only like that because he made me like that. I only text him 20 times at 2 a.m. because he didn't answer me, or he didn't text me all day. Maybe, but it's also still weird to do that, by the way. That's still not okay. But in her mind, she can justify that. But if you don't do that, she has to look at all the hurt and all the childhood patterns that she's experienced that made her the way she is. And that means she has to also take accountability, but also she has to face her own demons, right? And that's hard too. If something happened to her when she was younger, she has to remember that memory and she has to heal from it and admit that not everybody's like that and she was just a victim of that moment. It's easier to say I'm a victim of my whole life so that you can avoid the one moment that actually really hurt you, which probably was before you or any of her ex-boyfriends. It probably was her dad or her mom or something, right? That happened a long time ago. And she has to face those things. And that's really scary. But it needs to be done because then she's going to keep chasing away good men, because a lot of you good men don't want women like this. So maybe it's beneficial. But hopefully she can change and maybe the relationship can work. So who are these women? We already talked about what an unhealthy man can do for her. What do women like this look like so that you can at least be aware? Sadly, most common reason, they're going to have absent or uncaring fathers. And it's the blueprint of how she perceives love and relationships from men, because she doesn't have a dad who she can call if she needs something, or her dad's maybe going to make her feel bad, or her dad's not going to be there, right? And some women, like I'm a daddy's girl, so I have like a very close relationship with my dad. I call him for everything. He tells me everything about his life. He goes over his business stuff with me, and I don't even always understand it, but I'm still there. I'm listening. He always wants my input. I call him for literally everything. I'm trying not to because, I'm an adult, but I definitely know he can do anything for me, right? And a lot of women who have a good relationship with their dad, they feel that way. And so by nature, we feel like men are good, right? Men are good. They're going to be there for you. They will, if they're not there for you, he has a good reason, right? That's how most women think about men if they have a good relationship with their dad, because that's what we feel about our dads. If my dad can't do something, there's a reason why he can't. There's a good reason. And I don't need to worry about it because I know he's going to figure it out at some point, right? Women who don't have that experience with their dad, unfortunately, they don't get that. They don't understand that most good men, if he's not answering your phone, it's a reason. He's busy. Like, it's a very valid reason. She doesn't get that because her dad maybe didn't have a good reason for abandoning her. And so she thinks that all men don't have good reasons for ignoring her, whatever is going on, right? And so that's one reason. The next one is similar. She comes from neglect and neglect and abuse. And what ends up happening is she believes that abusive patterns are normal, or she's trying to use that man to undo it. So let's say her dad abused her. If she dates an abusive man and he changes, this is proof that it's not her fault that her dad abused her because this man changed. It's her dad's fault because he didn't change. But this other abusive guy, he was able to change. So her dad should have changed and it's his fault. And yeah, it's not her fault because she was a little kid that something happened to her. But it's unlikely that somebody who's treating her so poorly will change just for the sake of her. It takes a lot of work. And I'm saying this as a therapist. It takes years and years and years of really consistently the patient shows up for therapy and they're challenged, and it's really hard. These types of men who are, this way, they're abusive or they've come from those patterns, they're so ingrained in this. And it's a very deep, deep pattern. And so it's not going to happen just because, I fell in love, I'm going to change. It doesn't work like that, right? That would be easier for them, actually. They have a lot of work to do. The next one is the last point, and then we're going to wrap it up. Women who were not raised to believe or expect worthiness of herself. So it's going to sound strange, but if you're a good guy and you have things to offer and she thinks she doesn't have anything to offer, she's going to subconsciously run away from you because then she has to look at herself and think she's not worthy enough. It's true. And I know that sounds very cliche or I'm trying to make you feel better, but it is true. It's psychology. And so that is something I feel like is very important. These are patterns that I see. And I'm going to wrap this video up here, but I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.